I'm Rebecca from Northwest Lumpia. Last week's vote was between the blueberry cheesecake and the peaches and cream. And the peaches and cream won. So today I'm going to go over how we make that. We're going to start out with some sugar. This is probably roughly about 8 to 10 cups of sugar. And then we're going to add in our peaches. So this is right around 6 pounds. Now usually we would use fresh fruits, but peaches are not exactly in season right now, so we're going to make do with some frozen ones. So once we get all of these in here, we're going to add a little bit of water. And we're going to start out with right around probably close to 12 cups of water. Now, this is what it looks like. We're going to get this all mixed together, and then we're going to probably take right around 15 to 20 minutes to cook this down. So this is pretty much how we make our fruit compote that goes in our cheesecake recipes. Some of them, depending on the types of fruit that we use, may be a little bit differently, but this is how we're going to start it. So we're back, and we've got our peaches boiled down to about half of what it was. I ended up having to put quite a bit more sugar in it. It's always very important to taste whatever it is that you're cooking. These peaches were just a little bit underripe, so they needed a little bit more sugar, and then probably about 5-10 extra minutes to cook them so that we could get the peach flavor throughout our sauce here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put some cornstarch and some water to use it as a thickening agent. Once again, very important to check how it is that your sauce or whatever, your chutney and everything is cooking. Because if you take a look, we are almost at the softball stage. So as far as the cornstarch and water, we're just going to need a little bit. We're not going to need too terribly much. So I'm going to just start pouring it in. Now, because we're using a chutney, we need these peaches to be extra sweet for whenever we add it into our cheesecake mixture. So we're going to start pouring this in. We're also going to want this to be very hard. We're not going to want it to be, really loose. And as you can see, it's already changing in presentation. And all of those peaches and all that peach juice is just coming together really well. So we're going to let this boil for just a minute, and then we're going to add a little bit more of the cornstarch and water. If it doesn't get really thick, then I'll make up some more slurry, and then we'll add that in. Sometimes it just needs, an extra minute or two in order for it to get very nice and firm. But like I said, we're going to want this to be very thick. So when we mix it with our cheesecake mixture, we have a nice firm cheesecake, so that whenever we roll it, it doesn't bleed through the wrapper. And that's one of the reasons why whenever we cook these things, we need them to be very thick and very heavy. Now, if I was making this for home and I was going to make like a peach pie or something, then I wouldn't want it. I wouldn't want this much water in order to pull all those juices out. I would just use some sugar and some peaches and maybe a little bit of lemon juice, and then throw it into a pie shell and go with it. So it looks like I'm probably going to have to add just a little bit more of that cornstarch in order to get that. But you see how it's starting to bubble all nice and thick. When you get to this stage, you really need to be careful, because those bubbles can really hurt if you get splattered with them. So we're going to put this into a pan and let it cool. we'll put it into our walk-in freezer, our walk-in cooler, and let it cool overnight, and then tomorrow we will add it into our cheesecake mixture and then roll us a lumpia. So thank you very much for coming in and seeing how I do the peaches and cream. We'll be back tomorrow and we'll show you how we roll them as well as mix them in with our cheesecake mixer. Okay, so yesterday you watched me make the peaches compote. We put it in the cooler so it could cool off. And this is what probably about a fourth of it looks like. So we're going to take this and mix that together with our cream cheese, because this is not a peach cheesecake, this is peaches and cream. So we're going to take this and we're going to pour some of this in here. And if we need more, I have a lot more in there. I make these in large batches so that we can freeze them and use them later on for other recipes. So you can just cut this apart and break the cheesecake into pieces. But what I typically like to do, and it's really messy, is I just take and put on a pair of gloves. Now I don't put this stuff through a food processor or a mixer because I don't want a smooth consistency. What I want is when you squeeze this together, I'm just going to show you a little piece here. You see how you have these pieces of cream cheese, and then you're going to have this peach compote. And that's what we want, so that whenever you take a bite of the peaches and cream, you get a whole lot of peach and then a little bit of the cream to break up some of that sweetness and make it really nice and creamy. All right, so now this is the consistency that we're really looking for. As you can tell, the cream cheese hasn't been mixed in so much as it has been broken apart. So you can see the pieces of peaches and the pieces of cream cheese, and this is what it's going to look like. So I'm going to go grab some lumpia wrappers and we're going to put this in a lumpia wrapper. So I'm just opening up my box of lumpia wrappers, and this is the one that we use. It's the Cemex brand. They're individually separated so that you don't have to worry about pulling them apart. So when you open them, they're all individually separated, which makes it so much easier to make the lumpias in a quick pace. So this is my water. That's what I'm going to use for my glue. And then this is what I use to set my little scooper up. So this is about a 1 tablespoon scooper. And if you see, it's still all separated. So we're going to take and we're going to put that on there. And then just like before, we're going to fold it. We're going to take our fingers right here and tuck it in, bring our edges together, and then just roll it forward. Once we get towards the end, we'll put some of that water on there, and then there we go. Now these ones, because they have so much of the compote and it is so kind of wet, these ones we will separate into a pan so that they're not touching each other, and then we'll freeze them that way before we package them. Some of them we package right away, but as you can see with this one, some of the peaches is very close to the surface, and we don't want it to bleed out whenever you're packaging them, because then they're very difficult to come apart. I'm going to take these lumpias, throw them in the fryer, and then I will come back in just a minute and we'll take a look at what they look like whenever they're done. And there we go, peaches and cream. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.